lots and lots and lots of ambulances. But don't worry, I'm not ill. Hello, this is another episode of An Englishman in San Diego. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. My name is Leonard Sultana, and the good news about this one is it is going to be kept under a tight 10 minutes because you joined me in the shadow of Dewsbury Hospital, which is where I do my DJing for charity meet. It's where I do my Wednesday evening little slice of nerd, where I even share my nerd interests with the people listening in hospital radio. I do the kind of like nerd headlines and all the geek and pop culture stuff, and that's what I kind of do on the radio for a couple of hours. As it happens, I'm going to be due in the studio in about 10 minutes time, so this is going to be kept under a tight 10 minutes. So it's going to be a nice easy watch for you this evening. Welcome along. It is, I believe I'm getting the date right, it's the 13th of May. He says he's going to pause this for a second. No, shall I pause it? No, I think it's the 13th of May. And it is certainly the one thing I do know. It is 70 days to San Diego Comic-Con 2014. Now, I was going to actually record this yesterday, but safe to say, it wasn't as bright and clear and glorious as it is this evening, which is Wednesday evening in May, and yesterday it absolutely siled it down. It was sorry, that's maybe a Yorkshire term, I do apologise. It was horrific and full of rain and rather awful and grim and grey, but no, it's rather glorious today, and certainly kind of how we want the summer to go. It's very clear skies and bright evening as the sun sets. Right, so a very quick 10 minutes then about what has been happening in my world as we are getting ready for San Diego Comic-Con. Well, as it happens, as part of my DJing duties, I also did some in-store PA, providing music for a store appearance over a weekend about a month ago. And all I could think while I was playing dance music repetitively for about 8.5 hours was, this is paying for my flights. This is paying for my flights. This is paying for my flights. This is a long day and it's paying for my flights. And that's exactly what it's going to do. Money went into my account today. And as soon as we've put it all together with my darling wife's, tomorrow the flights will be sorted. So that is another thing to tick off the list. Fantastic. Well, something I wanted to talk about today is whether you can in fact do Comic-Con on a budget, which is exactly what I will be doing this year. In 2010 when we first went, we went as part of our honeymoon, so we had lots of we asked for wedding gifts of money from our friends and family, so we got a fair amount of checks and cash and spending money for our trip, and we went all out. We had a fantastic 3.5 weeks in California. But as the years have gone on, we've had to shave further and further back because it is a very expensive proposition to make your way out to San Diego to do Comic-Con. The most expensive thing is the flights. Now, what we're doing is flying this year from Manchester to San Diego. We're spending a good portion of the week prior to San Diego Comic-Con in the actual city of San Diego. We would usually stay with some friends and some relatives a little bit further up the coast. However, this year, because we are just spending 4 days in San Diego and 3 days the week after, we're actually cutting it all the way back. I think we're going to be spending the first week in either the airport concierge in a sleeping bag somewhere, or we're going to be finding ourselves a nice cheap hotel, so we can just enjoy San Diego, because it's something that I don't think we've actually done properly. So we're going to be doing that this year. I believe you can in fact do Comic-Con on the cheap, especially if you are travelling from abroad. The expensive things is the flights to get you into and around San Diego, to get you into town. Yes, the hotels can be expensive, but I believe if you kind of compromise on personal space, if you spend time with friends and actually bunk up with other people and share with your friends that you've made in San Diego, or indeed online. There's several forums where you can find roommates. That can be a slightly more affordable proposition. So I don't think that accommodation is the main grievance. I think it is all about the flights. As for the con itself, unless you are an actual collector of toys or a rabid hoarder of the things that they can sell at the con, I don't think that's a proposition. You have to get yourself through the battle of getting the badges. But once those badges are bought, the 4 or 5 days of the con are, in fact, that's it. It's all done and dusted. That's what's paid for. The hall is free. All the panel rooms are free. The exhibition floor is free, and there's plenty to see and do over the 4 days of the con if you, in fact, get the chance to do all 4 days. When it can prove a little bit more expensive again is when you then buy tickets for outdoor events, off-site events perhaps, in San Diego. Yes, I'm talking about things like Nerd HQ and other events as well, but that's down to what you feel you want to spend. The other thing that can prove a little bit expensive can be the city itself. San Diego is a very affluent, very rich part of the country. It prides itself in being rather well off, and it's reflected in the restaurants and the bars in the city. It can prove a rather expensive town, but like any other town, you can find places to eat and drink on a budget. So I think you can. This year is going to be very much a demonstration of that, and the diary for Comic-Con this year for myself, for the Englishman in San Diego vlogs, is going to be how you can do Comic-Con on the cheap. Okay, what else can we talk about? Well, when it comes to con, the big news over the last couple of days has been Zack Snyder's tweets and reveals of the new Batmobile. Now, it looked like it was going to be just the Batmobile, but as we've discovered, it is also more a case of seeing what Ben Affleck looks like in the suit. One or two people have made a comment or two about the size of his ears, but to be honest, I think it actually looks very, very much like the Dark Knight Returns Batman as drawn by Frank Miller. And like I think I mentioned in a vlog, in one of the Hangouts actually a couple of weeks ago, I think we turned around and said that it would be rather timely in Batman's 75th anniversary to have Frank Miller draw Batman for the t-shirts. So I'm going to put Frank Miller's Twitter address, or certainly some way of contact. We're going to try and find a way of getting in contact with Frank Miller and Comic-Con. Let's get Frank Miller to draw Batman for the t-shirts or the souvenir book. No, I don't think that's been announced yet. So let's get Frank Miller drawing Batman. I think that would be a good time. I think that would be a nice roundabout thing to do for Comic-Con 2014. I posted on the website about the reveal that was going to be forthcoming, at which point someone said, why didn't I actually post the picture when it showed up? At which point it kind of made me question what the website is about, and what these vlogs are about, because people have asked, what do you do the vlogs for? The vlogs are, for me, a way to talk about Comic-Con. That's all I really want to do. I love Comic-Con. I talk about it endlessly to friends who don't particularly want to talk about Comic-Con. And indeed, I've had one or two people unfriend me on various social medias who just go, okay, can you dial it back a bit? Don't want to hear about it. But I do. I want to talk about con. I enjoy going. I enjoy the social aspect. I enjoy the communal aspect, as I've mentioned on numerous occasions. However, this year's going to be interesting for me, because at the end of the day, An Englishman in San Diego is a new proposition. Started it off in October, November last year, and this will be the first time I actually go, if not as officially as press, I will be reporting on various elements of San Diego Comic-Con as a kind of reporter, as a journalist. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. Next year I will be applying as press if San Diego Comic-Con allows me, and of course if An Englishman in San Diego does take off in the way that I'd like it to. What do I want the site to do? It's demonstrated a lot by that Batman reveal. I talked about the Batmobile being revealed by Zack Snyder, but I talked about it mostly about whether the Batmobile would then appear in San Diego Comic-Con as part of a possible display of the Batmobiles, which did happen in 2012 when they brought the entire range from Tim Burton's Batmobile through Batman and Batman Begins? No, it's good, you're right. Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. I'm certain. Oh, Batman Returns, of course. All the Tim Burtons and the Joel Schumachers, and indeed the Christopher Nolan Batmobiles, the Tumblers. All of them laid out on the grass outside of the Hilton Bayfront. It was a hell of a display and great celebration of these iconic vehicles. And I wanted to talk about on the website about whether the actual Tumbler, or the new Batmobile, as designed and built by GM, as I've discovered, would appear with that range to celebrate Batman's week, or Batman Day, as celebrating his big birthday. It had one or two people asking why I didn't talk about the reveal and didn't post about it. At the end of the day, it doesn't interest me. Whether it appears at Comic-Con, that's what the website is for. And I will be talking about Comic-Con on these vlogs and on the website. So I will do my best to cover pop culture that interests me, but ultimately it's got to be con related, because otherwise what's the point? Someone also asked, where do I actually want the website to go? Well, I want it to grow. I want to get more writers involved. I want to get more discussion. People have also asked about what the Hangout really is ultimately for. Is it really an advert for the website? Not really. When I turn around and say it's a round table affair, I absolutely mean it. I just want people to talk about con in a communal fashion, to come along, discuss what they've been talking about this week as we get closer and closer to the con this year, and actually get involved and communicate with each other. I'd love to actually have a bloggers hangout while we're actually out there. Excuse me, I've got a bug in my hand. There we go. Yeah, I'd love to have the bloggers get together and talk. It's not about to get a lack of ego about this. I know it says An Englishman in San Diego on the website and on the title, but quite frankly, that's purely because I thought it was a nice, snappy title. I actually prefer and would like it to be more about people coming together and talking about con. I'd like to get more people commenting in the comments, not only on the YouTube channel and on the videos, but also down below. I don't get that many comments, it's got to be said, on the website. I'd like to try and do something about that, get more people involved and get the conversation going. And that's what I'd like the website to do. I'd also like to get something that someone has noticed, or several people have noticed on the website, the road to San Diego. What I'm going to be doing over the next 6-7 months is doing my absolute damnedest to get An Englishman in San Diego's profile up, the production values up, and also get more and more people involved so it becomes a more respected website. So much so that I can then get possible funding for a project that I thought about doing this year. It was clearly not going to happen. I wasn't going to raise the money in time. A road trip. 4 weeks to 6 weeks prior to San Diego Comic-Con. Driving across America, talking to creators, to retailers, to bloggers, to con icons, to actually have content generated on a daily basis like a traveling web series daily from a Winnebago traveling across America. Because I think as a Brit visiting the US, it's a country which I haven't seen enough of. And it's something I want to change. I want to see more of America. And I think the road to San Diego would be a great way to do it. So, I know that the way de jour to raise money is Kickstarter and crowdfunding. So don't be at all surprised if I do end up resorting to such a thing. But I'd like to try and get the website kind of financially viable to do it on its own. But I'd like to get more people involved. I want to get the conversation started. And that involves inviting people who I know will probably always say no to joining me on the Hangouts, which I hope you are watching Sundays, every Sunday from 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern, and 5:30 in the afternoon in GMT. Do get involved, share, let people know that the conversation is happening, and let's talk Comic-Con, because that's all I really want to do. And I think I've done that for far too long. 16 minutes, huh? Okay, time to get inside and talk even more over records this time for 2 and a bit hours on my radio show. Have yourself a good time this evening or wherever you are. We're talking, like I say, 70 days to go. It's Wednesday, I want to say 13th of May, which means exactly this time on a Wednesday evening, very shortly indeed, we will all be in San Diego and getting ourselves ready for one of the biggest events of the year, certainly for us nerdheads. Speak to you soon, and I'll see you on the next vlog. Bye bye.